Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Broken Man. I'm just getting back from a trip I had to take in Mississippi, and I wanted to go see what Wade's been up to and how much he's gotten done. It looks like he's got the new rear end under the truck and mocked up, new trailing arms on. More work to be finished, but looking good. Let's go see what he's up to in the shop. Hey baby, what you doing? Hey, what you doing?
You're back, huh?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
What are you doing?
I'm working on the rear steer cylinder. You remember I got it, it had the end on it.
Yeah, like the regular end that you hook up to. So you cut it off?
Yeah, this is for a tractor, for a...
Yeah, but what are you going to put on it if you cut that part off?
So I'm putting the end on it that matches the factory drag link. It's reverse threads, so that way all the parts on the truck I can pick up at a parts store, for instance. So if I have to replace something on that truck or something, I'm trying to make it all as factory as possible. So by doing this, and I made a little ear or nipple, when I cut that off, I noticed they had a nipple in it.
Let's see. Oh.
Sticking out.
Yeah.
So I built my own. It might have to be cut down a little bit, but that's okay. It's kind of in rough. I don't have a lathe, so I've been playing with it with my grinder.
Wow, and, looks good though.
Thank you. I got it pretty all the way around, pretty close. So in other words, this is going to go in there like that, be knocked in nice and tight, and we're going to make sure it's nice and level. It's about a 1/16 of an inch diameter, smaller than this.
Oh.
So what I'm going to do then, after I get it knocked in, I'm going to weld it up really good, really nice and hot, and keep it straight as possible. And then I'm going to slide a big nut over top of this, over that weld, after I grind the weld down, after I weld it up.
Yeah.
Nice and flush.
Okay.
And it'll do for a couple things. One, it'll stop it from being pulled inside the cylinder.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. How does it not get pulled all the way inside?
Yeah. So it'll stop itself also too, but it could theoretically if there's extra room. I don't think there is. I think it's got a bump stop in there, but also I can use it to, because this, you can turn this cylinder in here. This is brand new, so it's a little tougher than a used one. Usually you can spin them. So installing it or taking it on or off or adjusting the drag link, you'll be able to do it with that nut.
Oh, so you can just put a wrench on the nut.
Right, so I can put a wrench on it and hold it and adjust it, whatever. Take it off if it needs to be taken off and serviced. So I'm just trying to make everything on our truck so when we take off out west, we can stop at any O'Reilly's, any Advanced Auto, any Napa, and pick this up. We're not trying to order it online at Two Brothers, Diesel, or whatever.
Right, so it's not a specialty part that we have to go find and buy. If we need to fix something on the fly, we can.
Yeah, like my buddy said, why did you buy a brand new Ford fuel pump for your truck when you can get a aftermarket one that's better for almost the same price, for a little bit more? And I said, because you got to order that thing and then you got to have it shipped to you somewhere out west, when all I'd have to do is find a local Ford place or dealership or a parts store, and I can replace that pump. They're just as good. I mean, they're not just as good. They flow faster, they've got double pumps, all kinds of other stuff. But I mean, this thing, my first pump run 300,000 or 250 something thousand miles before it went out on that truck. That tells me it's got a pretty good track record of working, you know, and doing good.
And we're not trying to get fast, high performance, superpower, everything else.
I mean, we're going to have a chip in it and everything else. But I mean, it's, again, like you just said, we're not trying to go somewhere fast. We're not trying to hot rod our truck or make it into a hot rod.
No,
we're trying to go out west and see everything. So we're doing it snail pace.
Yeah, and we want everything as reliable and
redundant.
Yeah, and easy as we possibly can, and yeah, being able to find parts and replace them is a very big deal for us.
So like I said, that's got a Dana front, Dana 60 front, Dana 60 rear. You know, if I was to break a locker or something was to go wrong, all I got to do is carry an extra gear, and it'll work for the front or the rear. If I need to carry an extra set of disc brakes, it'll work for the front or the rear. You see what I'm saying? They're both the same year, make, model. Everything's identical. The dry shafts, or not the dry shaft, but the shafts in the rear end, they're interchangeable. So I'll be able to carry extra spares and stuff, and I don't have to carry it for each individual, you know, like a Dana 80 or like a
Sterling 10.5.
yeah, or a 10.5. So, and that thing's bigger than the Dana 80. Go out there and look if you don't believe me. I mean, it's literally.
No, I know. I think we've shown them before, though.
Stronger,
but yeah, and it's thicker.
looking.
I think we've actually done it with a micrometer, but it is. It's actually thicker around than the Dana 80 was. Like I said, when we went and got them, I thought that was the rear end axle, and the other one was the front end axle.
But I don't want to spend a lot of time, you know, talking about all that. But that's what I'm doing, guys. So I'm literally getting set up now to cut this nipple off, get it tied in. I'm going to leave me enough to be able to put a nice root pass in here. And then I'm going to put filler wells, of course. This here, I don't know if it's cast iron or not. I got a kind of feeling that it is some kind of cast steel, cast iron. So I'm going to heat this to 400 degrees in my oven and get this installed, knocked into place, get it level, and I'm going to weld the shit out of this thing, and I'm going to wrap it up so it cools gradually. I'm going to try to keep it on its tip so the heat doesn't dissipate back down to the seals and ruin anything. So I'm trying to keep this all together so I don't get into a bigger project than what I need right now.
That really fits good. I can't believe how good that fits. It's nice.
I think when it's all said and done, I mean, I got lucky with that grinder. I literally cut that roundness in it that way, put my gauge on it, check. Okay, yeah, it looks like I'm pretty close. And then I cut slabs out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got slabs all over the ground. So I cut these slabs off of it, nice and slow, and then started grinding it and moving it, grind it, move it. And I just like sculpting ice or what have you.
There's a lot of skill into it. It's not just luck. I mean, it's not just luck that it happened to work out that way.
I've had to do this kind of stuff before, so yeah.
Hey, baby, you got done?
Almost. Just finishing up. So I got the end welded on it. The nipple fit right in there like we talked about earlier.
It's pretty straight too.
It's pretty straight. I can't see any real, you know, out of shapeness. It is a little smaller if you guys notice right here from up here. It's about a 1/16 of an inch in diameter, smaller.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to affect it.
Anything we can put behind it so you can see it a little bit better?
Yeah, sure. Here. How about that?
Well, flip it over real quick.
Flip it over?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here.
Better?
Yeah, go this way with it.
Okay, go this way with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you out of the video, the other one too. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, that's better. You can see it better behind it. I just wanted to see so they could see how it was different sizes. So what's the old one?
What's the old?
So that's the old one.
That's what was welded on it.
Okay.
So it had a nipple when I cut it loose, the weld loose from here. You could see it had a little nipple sticking up in there, which was for strength. So what I done is I said, well, that's pretty cool. I was thinking about, you know, threading it on both sides.
Oh, like putting a bolt both ways?
And put a stud in there. And that way I could weld it up and it still have some kind of inner strength. Because I was really worried because I thought, man, I might have to cut this way down, blah, blah, blah. Anyway.
And it did have exactly kind of what you were talking about.
So I put a nipple on it on the other one, cut it out, which you can see in the other video. Got it knocked up in there with my hammer. It looked pretty straight. I put squares on it. I'd done everything to try to get it as straight as I could. I actually cut some angle iron and clamped it to this. And of course I had to put like a little wrapping of Coke can around it and clamped it to kind of keep it as straight as I could.
Yeah, it came out good though.
To tack it into place.
And then that goes on the truck on the...
Yeah, so this is the old drag link. So I cut the drag link down. Hold on, I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you cut that down.
So this is the rest of the drag link that I bought with that front end.
Okay.
Now, because we're using the front end for a rear end, long story short, this was with the old rear end. Okay. I mean, the front end that I bought for the truck to make a rear end out of, so we'd have rear steer.
That Dana 60, Super 60.
But we're doing hydro steer. So I bought this is a cylinder up to 3,200 pounds, I believe it is. hydraulic cylinder, and we're going to put rear steer under our truck. Of course, I've already got the rear end mocked up underneath the truck, but now it's time to lock those rear wheels so they can't turn. So I'm going to go ahead and build them out for this thing and get it mounted in there. What
So
I
where are
did
you
is,
screwing into there?
this is right hand or left hand threads. The other end is right hand threads, and it's got a coupler. So when you adjust the coupler on the driveline, it will tighten. It'll bring it in close or bring it out.
So you can adjust
Your
it.
steering. So you
So
can
just like you
adjust
adjust your front tires, we can adjust the back ones too. Well,
Just
that's
like
cool.
you can at both ends of your tie rods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's going to run everything. It's
That's
all set up.
awesome. And
Yeah.
then you've got the. So do we have everything now? You got the joystick. You bought the joystick
I got
thing.
the joystick sitting on the shelf here. I haven't, installed it or the wiring.
Right. We
It's
got
right
the
here.
joystick. That was so much bigger than I thought it was going to be, by the way. I was thinking like this little tiny joystick. I don't know why, but that's cool.
Yeah. So here's the joystick.
And you're going to put that on the
I'm going to build a little
thing.
box for that to mount on, and this is going to mount on our shifter,
Cool.
on our 6-speed.
That'll work. Okay.
So,
And then our pump came in the other day, which is on the refrigerator. Where else would it be?
yeah.
So excuse our kitchen mess. We're definitely in the process of building our house, but this is the pump that he bought the other day. And that just came in as well. And that's going to be running something else too, right?
That's going to be running one of the hydraulic winches, and
Okay.
it's also going to be running the rear steer. So it's going to be electric over hydraulic, and it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's got its holding tank, everything involved in that. It's something I watched on a video.
And what was cool is that this thing came with all the hoses and everything, right?
Yeah.
So we already have the hoses and everything.
We got everything.
Yeah, and honestly, total for us to buy all the pieces separate. So I think we've spent 100 and something on this.
I paid $87. That's what I
You're
paid for
right,
the cylinder.
87, and
Yeah.
then 230 for the pump,
Yep.
which is going to run our winch as well because
I got the
we already
hoses
had a
with it at
hydraulic winch.
$87
Yeah, the hoses too. So we're going to be under $500
for rear steer.
per rear steer.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you try going to what's it called? PSC or
I don't know.
PCS? PSC.
Yeah.
And
so,
trying to buy one of these cylinders, it's almost impossible to get one cheap nowadays.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, and I will go ahead and put up. Well, eventually I'll put it in the description what everything
Yeah,
costs.
later
where we
on you
got
can
it.
put it
Yeah.
in the description. It's going to take a little while
Yeah.
to find all the stuff. and
But yeah, I will
but
eventually put it in the description
It's
exactly what
it's
it
a
was.
very simple build. Like I said, guys, it's going to work just fine. This is, I think, it's up to 3,200 pounds.
So
PSI.
plenty for
It's
the
a lot.
rear tires.
Yeah, all you do is turn in the rear wheels. So,
So-
we're going to have a dually camper, four-wheel drive dually camper
With rear
that
steer.
steers
Which
from
is
the
awesome.
rear too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm going to buy another one of these
Mm-hmm.
and set it up on, hydro steer on the front, but it's going to be just like a helper.
Like
you
a
know what I
hydro
mean?
assist kind of thing.
Yeah, hydro assist,
Not complete.
Not full,
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't think I'd like the full steering, but I do like the idea of the hydro assist, especially with just the truck being off road and stuff like that. I think that would be helpful.
This is going to have this rear end's going to have what do they call it? Return to center.
Yeah.
So it's going to have that. I haven't bought that yet. That's something we're going to add down the way.
Is that like a solenoid or something that we have to get or something?
It's a solenoid, 2 switches on each end that kind of reads where how far it's turned and will return back to that same spot that it left from.
Okay.
So, and it's going to have a locking switch too, just so you know. So like if we're going down the highway, this pump will be shut off. It's got 2 blocks in it to keep it from turning at any time. So you're literally going to have to turn on the switch on the dash. That'll power it up. And then of course then it'll have its power. So it'll be pretty protected. So it's not like you're going to be driving down the road and accidentally hit the rear steer and be side goggling sideways down the highway or something. So we're going to make it to where it's very, very, very safe. But the cool part about this is it's not just that it's rear steer and not that it's just hydraulic rear steer, but the fact that all the parts that we're using on the rear of the truck will interchange with the front.
I know.
So carrying extra spare parts and stuff like that, if you can carry extra parts and you've got room for it in your truck, which most people don't on their Landovers or their, Overlanders, whatever you want to
A
call
lot of people
them.
go home though, so.
Yeah, but my point is, they do carry spare parts, but they can't carry a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The cool part about this is we have whatever parts can share between both front and rear end.
Yeah.
Because they're both Dana 60s.
You know what this build reminds me of, honey?
What's that?
Just the cylinders and the solenoids and the stuff that you do. Remember when we did that system on the plane for it was like autopilot, but it really wasn't autopilot. It was like an assisted autopilot kind of thing. Yeah, it was like an
electric trim system.
Yeah, where you could kind of set it and kind of gives you autopilot, but not really autopilot.
Right. It just sets you flying straight and level.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that same kind of system.
Yeah.
Doing this, when we're doing it.
It's going to be pretty cool. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think it's going to help us out of a lot of jams off-road.
I do too.
I think, seriously, when you normally would have to swing wide to go around a tree or a big rock, and then, of course, there's not enough room to really swing wide, you don't have to worry about it with rear steer. Yeah. Literally, you turn left, your rear tires will follow in the same track. So if you're coming along a tree and you want to turn sharp around that tree, you need something to be able to walk that rear end around. Right. You can't just turn right against it. But now, if that tree's right at your door and you start turning what would normally take out the side of the truck or the camper,
or you have to back up 50 times. If you've got
rear steer, the rear steer is walking the rear end around. So it's really gonna, I think it's really gonna help us quite a bit.
I'm excited.
So
I really am. I'm a little nervous about using it.
Now.
I'm not good driving on one rear and front end. Now I got to drive a rear end too.
I know. I can see you in Walmart parking lot trying to figure out the rear steer. Honey,
it's going the wrong
I'm walking
way.
Sideways down the parking lot.
That's it.
So anyway.
Get out of bed and help me park.
That's it. Anyway, we're closer and closer every day to having this project done. I'm excited. I know you're excited. It's been a long day.
It's been lots of days. It's been
You've got a
lots
long
of days.
drive back home. So, I guess we need to call it, get off of here.
All right, guys. Thank you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Come back for more. Leave us comments. We want to hear from you. And we can't wait to get to know everybody on this YouTube thing and make lots of videos and have lots of adventures. And right now it's build, build, build. See you later.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on, guys. So tune in. You're going to like what's happening next.
All right.
You really will.
Good night.
Enjoy. Have a good night.